Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be watching an American war film named Saving Private Ryan. The plot of the film follows the Battle of Normandy in World War II, where United States Army Captain John Miller takes his squad behind enemy lines in search of a missing paratrooper, James Francis Ryan, whose three brothers have already been killed in the war. The film starts with an old veteran arriving at Normandy Cemetery with his family. As he approaches a specific grave, he loses control of his emotions and bursts into tears. His family consoles him, and the scene transitions to June 6, 1944, with the old man recalling his time as a soldier. As part of the Normandy invasion, the U.S. Army lands at the Dog Green sector of Omaha Beach. Upon landing, the Germans opened fire, killing a lot of soldiers. Having no other choice, the U.S. soldiers dive into the water to save themselves from getting targeted. Despite their strategy, they end up getting killed, and bloodshed prevails all around. The surviving soldiers seek out their sergeant, Captain John Miller, for his orders. John, who is devastated to see the raining dead bodies, comes to his senses and orders his men to move off the beach. The battalion surgeons try to treat the wounded soldiers by giving them morphine, putting themselves in danger. John commands them to lie on the shore to evade the continuous bullets. When nothing seems an option, he orders the remaining soldiers to gather weapons and ammo from the dead soldiers. He then makes his way to the corner of a hill and uses a bayonet to estimate the number of soldiers attacking them and their machine gun position. Soon, the U.S. Army gets back in business and fights the breakout. They throw grenades, bullets, and flames at the opposing team, and as a result, the enemies surrender. As the war cools off, John looks at the floating dead bodies in despair. Soon, the staff at the United States Department of War starts sending out telegrams to the families of the martyrs about the news of their demise. All of a sudden, they realize that James Francis Ryan of the 101st Airborne Division is missing and presumed to be the last survivor of four brothers who all died in duty. The news is taken to the head of the department that Ryan is somewhere lost in Normandy, and that he must be found or else his mother will lose all her sons. The scene cuts to Ryan's mother washing dishes at her house. After a long time, she sees a military car approaching her house. When she opens the door in hopes to meet her sons and sees military officers stepping out, she falls to the ground devastated. Meanwhile, General George C. Marshall, United States Army Chief of Staff, is informed about the missing Ryan. A soldier reveals that Ryan was dropped near Louisville, which is behind German lines. However, the other soldier expresses uncertainty and mentions that it's difficult to find him. General George is touched by the news and reads out a telegram that was once sent to a mother of 5 martyrs. Everyone in the room is saddened to hear the depressing and heart-wrenching words. George orders Ryan to be found so that his mother does not lose all her sons at once. The scene cuts to Omaha Beach, where John is seen waiting for the armor that was supposed to arrive. He finds out that another mission has been assigned to him from the top. Soon, John leads a squad on a mission of finding Ryan and informs the crew about the situation. Some of the soldiers feel agitated about the fact that they have to risk their lives just to save one person. Despite knowing the fact that it will be extremely difficult to find one particular soldier, John takes on the task. He decides to take a soldier that knows both French and German as the detachment's interpreter. He elects Corporal Upham, who is a newbie soldier just done with his basic training and never stepped foot in a war zone. Upham gets frightened since he's never been in combat and requests John to reconsider him, but to no avail. Seeing him flouncing, John motivates him and the squad sets out to look for Ryan. The squad consists of 8 men who make their way to the disputed town of Louisville. Soon enough, it starts pouring and the soldiers reunite with the 101st Airborne. They explain the situation of finding Private Ryan, who was misdropped somewhere. When John realizes that the situation of combat is extremely tough out there, he gathers the detachment with him and leads his command. As they advance into the city, they find a German family stranded on top of a building. The family requests the soldiers to take their innocent children with them, thinking that they would be safe with the soldiers. Despite John's constant refusal to take the children, Caparzo takes the girl, claiming that she reminds him of his niece. Just then, he's shot by a German sniper. The rest of the squad is startled by the shootout and quickly take cover. Caparzo waits for his team to help him, but unfortunately, the team has no other choice but to look out for themselves. Finally, The US Army successfully takes down the German sniper and proceeds to help Caparzo, but it gets too late and Caparzo passes away. John preaches to the squad to learn from Caparzo's demise, that no children should be taken. Leaving Caparzo behind, the squad proceed forward in hopes to search for the paratrooper Private Ryan. Accidentally, a soldier steps on a ply that ends up destroying a wall and exposing the enemies. The US Army Rangers successfully take down each German, and they finally head forward after clearing the path. Eventually, John finds a paratrooper named Ryan, and he reluctantly breaks the news of his brother's demise to him, asking him to return home. Ryan breaks down into tears upon hearing the news. However, it turns out that he is James Frederick Ryan, not the Ryan that they are looking for, as his brothers are still kids in grammar school. After the foul-up, John learns that James Francis Ryan belonged to Baker Company, and he's directed to a rallying point where Ryan's unit should probably be. As night falls in, the squad spends time in the church where John talks his heart out to his fellow soldier Mike about the number of men he has lost under his command. He tells him that he lost 94 soldiers, but believes that he has saved the lives of 10 or 20 times that many people. John thinks that it's how he rationalizes choosing between men and the mission. His soldier reminds him that this time it's different as the mission is a man. Meanwhile, a medic soldier named Wade writes a letter to his mom. He tells his fellow soldiers that when his mother used to work as an intern, she used to come home late and try to talk to him, but Wade always ignored her by pretending to sleep. Even when she tried to come home early, he would not talk to her. He now regrets not talking to her and misses her dearly. Seeing the boys talking, John asks them to take some sleep before they head out to find Ryan. In the morning, they reach the rally point and find many wounded soldiers at the camp. Wade tries to treat some of them. Meanwhile, John looks around for Ryan amidst the destruction that happened due to the air shootouts. Jackson, a soldier on the squad, starts looking for Ryan's name tag to see if he died during the combat. When Wade sees airborne members passing by and looking at Jackson and John finding Ryan's name tag, he runs to them, asking them not to look at the tags as poker chips, as that can dishearten the airborne members. John realizes that Ryan's name is not on the name tags and that he's alive somewhere. Soon enough, he finds a soldier who had impaired his hearing ability and knew Ryan. John talks to him by writing in a notebook, asking about Ryan's whereabouts. Through him, he learns that Ryan is defending a key bridge in the town of Rommel. When John lays out a map to find the location, his squad notices John's trembling hand while he's holding a compass. On their way, they find a bunch of US Army soldiers dead. John realizes that a German machine gun has killed them and he decides to neutralize its nest. Although the squad members advise against it, claiming that it's an unnecessary risk, John remains bent on his decision as his main objective is to win the war. He orders the squad to run into the territory so the German machine gun runs out of its barrel while shooting at them. However, in the process, Wade ends up getting shot. Upham, who has never seen the horrors of war, is frightened to witness the situation. He grabs the medical kit for the squad who try to stop Wade's bleeding. Despite their efforts, Wade takes his last breath while remembering his mother. John tears up and grabs the letter from Wade's pocket. A moment later, the squad members find a German soldier and they charge at him with their rifles to kill him. John stops them to investigate the German, and just then he notices that Jackson is shot in the arm. Upham tries to stop John from letting the squad kill the German, but John dismisses him. He then goes to a secluded place and looks at the map he got from Wade's pocket. Seeing it, he starts bawling his eyes out, feeling remorseful for Wade's death. He then goes to the German soldier who has been nicknamed Steamboat Willie and is tasked to dig a grave. Steamboat Willie tries to manipulate Upham to let him go and conveniently changes sides, cursing at Hitler. However, before the squad could execute him, John blindfolds the German and orders him to surrender to the next Allied patrol. Reiben, a member of the squad, protests against John's decision, warning him not to let go of their enemy, but John ignores him. This infuriates Reiben, and he walks out of the mission. Mike, John's friend in the squad, warns Reiben to fall in, but John stops him from stopping Reiben. He then calmly reveals the story about his life, that he belongs to a civilian background as a teacher and baseball coach. He elaborates how every death of a soldier pushes him away from his family, and how he fears facing them. The entire detachment is touched by John's story, as they always speculated about his background, and together, they all bury Wade. Finally, they make their way to Rommel and encounter a German tank. John and his detachment take down the tank with the help of the East Company. After the takedown, John meets Ryan and informs him of his brother's death. Despite the heart-wrenching news, Ryan musters up the courage and asks John for the orders. When John tells him that he's ordered to return home, Ryan refuses to abandon his post due to a lack of enforcement on the bridge. Reiben berates Ryan for defying the captain's orders, revealing that 2 soldiers died because of him. Ryan is shocked and upset at the revelation, and despite everything, he remains adamant about fighting. Mike and John contemplate going home and, in the end, decide to stay in Rommel and fight back so they can look back and remember that saving Private Ryan was not such a bad decision. John then takes a look at the armor that they are left with and realizes that it's too less to fight any attack. He takes command of his unit and the 101st, as he is the only senior officer present on the field, and starts ordering soldiers about their positions and what they are supposed to do. Soon, all the soldiers take their positions and gear themselves up. Meanwhile, John sets up mines on the field along with Ryan. When Ryan asks him about his position during the combat, John strictly tells him not to leave his side at any cost. Later, the 2 of them sit together and Ryan tells John that he's unable to imagine his brothers' faces. John suggests Ryan think of a context to visualize his brothers, and following his suggestion, Ryan gladly narrates the story of one of his brothers. At the end of the story, Ryan gets upset after realizing that he will never be able to make more memories with his brothers. Soon enough, the US Army realizes that Germans are approaching them for an attack. John orders everyone to take their positions, and they wait for the Germans to arrive. Soon, a German troop arrives in a tank, and the US Army tries its best to combat. John, Ryan, and Reiben dismantle the tank by placing explosives on it. In the entire struggle, John makes sure to protect Ryan from getting killed. However, despite the Americans' efforts, the German armor advantage takes a toll on them, and as a result, Jackson and Horvath from the detachment are killed. Upham, who is supposed to distribute ammo to the Americans, fails to arrive on time, and as a result, Mellish is stabbed to death by a German. Mike also ends up taking a bullet in his stomach. After stabbing Mellish, the German soldier encounters the scared Upham, but spares him. Soon, John loses his wits when he sees most of his soldiers dead. Steamboat Willie rejoins his team and fires a bullet at John as John attempts to destroy a bridge with explosives. Soon enough, American fighter planes arrive and overpower the Germans. Defenseless, the Germans surrender and Upham confronts Steamboat Willie. The traitor once again tries to manipulate Upham, but Upham shoots and kills him. Reiben tries to stop John's bleeding and calls for medical help. While taking his last breath, John tells Ryan to earn this, referring to the sacrifices he and his detachment made so that Ryan can reunite with his mother. The scene transitions to the start of the film where the old man is revealed to be Ryan, who is standing in front of John's grave. With a heavy heart, he appreciates John's sacrifices and hopes that he earned the sacrifices. The film ends with Ryan saluting the grave with tears in his eyes. This movie has a rating of 8.6 on IMDb. The budget of this movie was around $70 million, and at the box office, it earned $485 million. I hope you all liked this video. If yes, then make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel for more movie recaps.